All right, are we live? Just start mentioning in chat if you can hear, see me, that sort of thing. Let's see what's going on. Hey, Mr. Coaster Swag. All right, so if people cannot hear me, let me know. If they can hear me, let me know, and we'll get the 10-year anniversary special underway. This is great. Very excited to be doing this. Haven't done a live stream in a few months. I think it was Halloween was the last one, so that's a little while. But now we're on, and we can talk about the upcoming collaboration on Wednesday or anything else you guys want. But I should note in advance, I'm not like in my normal room. It's occupied, but this room may have some background noise sometimes. People may try to open the door. If they do, I'll tell them to go away because I got this room for 2 hours. But hopefully the stream goes fine. And also I've been recovering from being sick a few days ago, so I might have to turn off the camera to blow my nose a few times. But other than that, this should hopefully go well. So what do you guys want to do? Stream is all yours. What do you want to talk about? Ask questions? General topic? Could do Cahoots later down the line. That'll probably be at least a half hour in, but I'm definitely up for that. Am I going to visit Epic Universe opening year? I don't know the plan right now, but I would like to for sure. If I can, I definitely will. Steel Vengeance or Iron Gwazi? I've always been an Iron Gwazi man. I guess it took a little time for me to say, oh man, is it really better than Steel Vengeance? And it was. And I'd say it still is. Hello, Dr. Bram Pepe. Best roller coaster, Cedar Point. I was mentioning that Steel Vengeance is my second favorite coaster. So I would say Steel Vengeance is my number one at Cedar Point. Thanks, Coaster Therapy. And you're at BGT right now? All right, have fun. Everyone's going to Busch Gardens, it looks like, in the chat. But what else? You thought Iron Gwazi was highly disappointing? That's a perk of me writing it before a lot of people had gotten on it, so the hype hadn't quite settled in yet. So I was able to be one of the ones who formed the hype rather than succumbing to it. Is it bad to go to Glacier National Park instead of Universal Orlando Resort? That sounds like the right choice to me. Universal's nice, for sure, but I mean, Great Outdoors is always wonderful, and Glacier is one of the most beautiful places out there. I-305 or Millennium Force all day, even after the Redemption ride. And I-305 is only good in the front anyway. Recently started vlogging. Do I have any advice? I'm not a vlogger, I will say. It's harder for me to give advice on that. Haven't done it much before, but just keep doing what you're doing, I think. Who here is GP? I guess kind of funny question. Thing is, I guess I'm an enthusiast in the technical sense of the term because I like roller coasters and know more about them and focus on them more than the average person. But at the same time, I don't stand Intamin like the average enthusiasts, and B&M is my favorite manufacturer, so I'm probably one of the least enthusiasts in this live stream. Okay, top 6 at Cedar Point. All right, so I have to exclude Dragster. Number 1 is Steel Vengeance, followed by Millennium Force, Maverick, Gatekeeper, Raptor, Valraven. Was there any other question? Going to Kings Dominion Carowinds and Cedar Point. That sounds pretty great. Hot take, Six Flags New England is the best 1-2 punch in America. That can't be too hot. That is a very fair take. Superman the Ride is one of the best roller coasters in the world. And Wicked Cyclone is certainly a strong RMC, so I can definitely understand that. For me, Cedar Point is definitely the best 1-2 punch, but I like Millennium Force a lot more than the average person. Millennium Force is my fourth favorite roller coaster, and Steel Vengeance is number 2. So very hard to beat that top 2. Tatsu or X2? Always Tatsu. Tatsu is more intense, and X2's intensity is the thing everybody praises. That's about all the explanation I think I need. What do I consider the worst hyper? Any ride that counts as a hyper, I suppose. In the traditional sense, first that comes to mind is definitely Magnum. Goliath is probably better overall because Magnum gives a lot of bad rides. At its best, it definitely beats Goliath at Magic Mountain, but not always. So that's tough. But I'm trying to think if there's some Wicked Twister type ride that I think is worse. But no, I guess I probably would put Magnum above Wicked Twister. So my least favorite of the hypers is technically Wicked Twister. Rest in peace. I love that ride. He meant B&M hypers. Oh, did it say B&M? Sorry if I missed that. Oh, it did say that. Whoops. Worst B&M hyper is Apollo's Chariot. It's just the weakest one in terms of the forces. Even though it's a beautiful ride, great night rides, I love it, but it is the weakest one. Six Flags New England over Georgia? All day, definitely. Over Georgia has really bad managements. It's probably the worst management of any Six Flags park besides Great Escape. So it holds back the stronger roller coaster and ride lineup. So I do like New England more. Raptors, Cedar Point, closed for both of your days. That's happened to me before too. I had ridden an invert, but I'm very sorry that happened. Went to SFOG at the beginning of the year, and I think Goliath's better than Mako. They're very close. All right, Landon Griffith, do you mean Great America or Great Adventure? I guess it doesn't matter because both of those are better than Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain is the third best Six Flags park for me, and it'd be lower if not for the fact that it feels like it has to be top 3. Great Adventure is better roller coasters for sure. And Great America, I guess, technically doesn't have stronger roller coasters, but it has a greater quantity of rides I consider above decent. And it has much better line management, appearance, atmosphere. And Great Adventure also is better in those regards. Magic Mountain is pretty much just the rides. Rate Laurent from 1 to 10? That's tough. I don't really give parks below a 5 very often, ever. But I would have to give, I guess I might say like 4 is probably where I give some lower parks. But Laurent, based on that scale, pretty much from 4 to 10, is a 7. I like Laurent. I guess I could go to 6, but it's an underrated park. Beautiful, wonderful setting, really solid operations, surprisingly great, frankly. Goliath's team was just one of the best. And the rides are definitely weaker compared to most other Six Flags parks, but I still think they are overall solid enough rides to make it a worth visiting park, on top of the other reasons I was mentioning. I didn't go during the fireworks show, but worst wing coaster, Wild Eagle for sure. It's still a great ride, but X-Flight, Gatekeeper, Thunderbird are all underrated masterpieces of rides, and Wild Eagle's just very good. Unless there's some non-B&M wing coaster that counts. What are my least favorite restraints? Skyrocket 2s, that's a good shout, but I would say West Coast Racers is worse. Terrible. Just the worst. The corner of the plastic was digging into the back of my neck. And I used to think Maverick had the worst restraints. I had one really bad ride where they pressed down on me, but I would not go nearly that far anymore. Coast Rider shin guards. I didn't ride Coast Rider the time I went to Knott's, so I can't comment on that, but I have heard that before. So one thing I want to ask, because I'm curious, has everybody seen the community post that announces the lineup for the big collaboration that's going to be out on Wednesday? That's something I want to make sure people know about because it's been a big project, and I definitely hope a lot of people can enjoy it. So I'll put the link to the post in chat. YouTube has this weird habit lately of just not making the pins automatic links. Hopefully this one works. All right, Six Flags America has bad operations. There were so many breakdowns. Yeah, Batwing is the worst there for sure. It just breaks down always. Great ride, but do I think Six Flags will RMC Roar? Hard to know for sure. Not for a little while. Yeah, CZ's World, he comments on a lot of the roller coaster channels. So that's a funny thing. That's how I first learned about him. I talked to him before, and it was great. It's great to have him on this collaboration. Worked with a few big channels in this one, but also some smaller ones I want to shed a light on because I hope you guys will check them out after you hear their stories or before. Hi, Chalk Coasters. Just talking about whatever people want and collaboration that's coming up that will drop on Wednesday, probably because I don't have as much going on Wednesday, probably noon. All right, Copperhead Striker, Wonder Woman Flight of Courage. I haven't done Wonder Woman, but I've done Jersey Devil, and that definitely beats Copperhead Strike, so probably Wonder Woman. What else? Favorite coaster at Hershey Park? Candymonium, but I have not been on Wildcats Revenge yet. It's just that I'm not a huge fan of Skyrush, and Stormrunner and Fahrenheit didn't stick with me as much. Candymonium's just a nice, fun, solid ride. And let's see, Hey Charge. Have I been to any theme park haunts events? I've been to Cedar Point's Halloweekends, but I'm not really a haunt guy, so I don't go to many of them, and I don't plan to go to any Florida ones because they are good, and that's a concern for me. Whereas Taylor, Chris, or Ryan in the collaboration, I did reach out to all three of them, but they did not respond. I think I reached out to a total of around 60 people, but I got around, I got 20-ish responses, and one of those was a no. Two of them weren't able to complete in time, so I got 19 total, which I'm very happy with. I mean, 60 be cool and all, but 19 is not bad. And, I sent the emails out 2 months ago, so when I haven't gotten a response at this point, it's safe to assume they weren't going to magically notice the email in 2 months. It's not like they are going to be like, oh, dang, I missed that sort of thing. And also, hey, Coaster Hour. Coaster Hour will be in it, by the way. Definitely check out his channel. And did you see the thing I sent you yesterday also, by the way, Coaster Hour? But anyway, 19 is a good number because when you add me on, 20 total. 20 is a nice round number. And it's going to be a very fun video for sure. And I won't talk about any channel specifically. I know spoiling stories. And for those, if you're wondering who else I reach out to, I guess you can ask, but I probably don't want to list the whole thing. But a lot of well-known ones, a few smaller ones. Silver Dollar City's top 4 or Dollywood? Oh, Dollywood all day. That's a very, very easy question because Outlaw Run would be third best at Dollywood, and Time Traveler would, I guess that would also be third best. But yeah, Chalk Coasters, my number one at KD. I guess it is I-305 now. The Redemption ride was better than Twisted Timbers, but my favorite ride there is Dominator. I'm not sure why, but I just love that ride. I think the other two obvious top 2 rides are better. they don't make up the best top 2 in America. That's one of the craziest takes out there, or at least one of the craziest popular takes. But Dominator is just a really fun ride with some genuinely surprising elements, like the best vertical loop on any B&M floorless, and maybe any B&M. Hong Kong Disneyland, riding Anniversary. That's pretty cool. I have not been to Hong Kong. Timbers over I-305. That's fair. I don't know, but at this point, I feel like Timbers is one that doesn't have enough of the standout elements to rise above things. Like, obviously, it's not up there with the best, the hyper ones for me. Twisted Colossus, Iron Rattler, Lightning Rod, those clear. And it's in the same tier as things like New Texas Giants and Joker for me, and Wicked Cyclone. Those are all in the same tier for me. But I guess of those, Twisted Timbers is probably right below Wicked Cyclone. It's still very good, but it's just not as strong. And it's also kind of near Storm Chaser, I suppose. Storm Chaser was running quite well when I went, though. I do like that more than Twisted Timbers. RMC's tough because, you know, they're all great except for Twisted Cyclone. That's still great, but it's not great. What else? The one other thing of having 19 for the collab, it's definitely the most that I've had, because I think the most I've ever had on one video before was probably 1. So it's a new record. All right, so what new theme parks should I go to? SFNE's home park, going to BG2 soon. Well, I don't know your travel plans, like when you can go, where you can go, that sort of thing. But I would say if you could only go to 2 other parks, Cedar Point and Dollywood. Kings Island would be the third one. I was going back and forth in my mind between Cedar Point and Kings Island as I answer your question. Hello, HHH3. But the thing with Cedar Point is it's getting Top Drill 2 a pretty big draw. Can we play Kahoot? At some point, yes. I want to give probably till 2:30 to do that, to make sure it's not all Kahoot, because I can interact more with you guys when it's not. But sure. So what parks am I excited for this summer? I have a trip that's probably happening, but I'm going to keep that a secret for now. Other than that, I don't really have any plans. Might go to Busch Gardens, Tampa a few times this year. Always a pleasure. Would have thought we would get more people. I'm not sure if that means the collaboration. What's the best route for Cedar Point's coasters? Cedar Point's a tough one because I've had my troubles trying routes I think are perfect, but it is probably ideal to start in Frontier Town. And if Steel Vengeance is not running at opening, you do Maverick first. Then go to Steel Vengeance if it's running. Then I suppose probably Millennium Forest, because you don't really have to worry about Magnum's line as much. I-305 or Maverick? Maverick, I would say. I can spend a week at one theme park. I think it's probably tough to choose between Cedar Point or Dollywood, where you'd spend a week. You can easily spend a week at both, in my opinion. There's more to do technically right around Dollywood because of how busy Gatlinburg is. But Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, those are just cities I don't like very much. Cedar Point is similar with Sandusky, but I guess it feels a little more authentic. But if I had to choose one, a week at Cedar Point seems like it would fit for the average roller coaster person more than Dollywood. And also, I guess the Lightning Rod chain lift is a good reason to not go to Dollywood next year. Maybe it'll be way better than I think, but I'm not super excited about losing the launch. Yeah, Pigeon Forge, I don't know. I mean, I walked around one night and it's kind of cool how there's these big wacky buildings that you wouldn't really see anywhere else outside of a tourist town, but there's something about the vibe that's very unsettling, and I'm glad I didn't do anything in Pigeon Forge outside of Dollywood itself. Have you been on any mountain coasters? Yes. Uh, can't really think of the names, but there's one or two out there I've been on. Do I think the new B&M Wing Coaster for Kings Dominion is a good replacement for Volcano? It's definitely a better one than Tumbili for the Crypts. That one I gotta make a video on that. I really don't like Tumbili. Favorite B&M at Cedar Point? Gatekeeper for sure. The others, two of the others are very good, but Gatekeeper is just perfect. I love it. Underrated. I remember getting stuck on Maverick. Oh, dang. Are you the person who's stuck on Maverick? Seems like a funny thing to hear. All right, Hershey Park top 4 or Dollywood top 4? Oh, that's easier than the Silver Dollar City one you gave me. Dollywood top 4. Because when you have one of the best hybrids and one of the best GCIs against a middle tier B&M Hyper and a one-hit wonder launch coaster that does not have a strong enough launch to compare to King of the Car or Dragster, in my opinion, I would definitely say the top 2 is already demolished enough that it doesn't matter what the others are. Montu best invert ever? Not for me. I prefer Banshee by a tiny bit. They're very different rides. Montu is more intense. Banshee has better elements to me, and it has more hang time. And it does the things that an inverted coaster, the gimmick of that, can do much better. It's a bit more fun for me, and it's never been rough, ever. Verbolten is number 2 at BGW. I haven't done Pantheon or Griffin yet, but I can confirm that Verbolten is not the number 2 at BGW. For me, I would definitely take Alpengeist, Apollo's Chariots, and Invader over Verbolten. Never rode Thunderhead. Been to Dollywood 3 times. That's interesting. I had no. Yes, I did actually. Thunderhead did break down, but sorry about that. Invader is so underrated, man. It has the pace of the best GCIs, and no one talks about it. And also, I mean, Verbolten is good. I like the elements outside of the tunnel. The tunnel portion is like, it's not as chaotic as it could be. The ride is just kind of like a below average Flight of Fear clone when it's not the nice outside drop. And overall, I don't know, Invader's good, but it's kind of short. Verbolten feels shorter than Invader to me. How does Alpengeist compare to B&M Inverts? I'd put it right below Montu. Also very intense, gorgeous setting, just like Montu, but definitely more hit or miss with roughness. Cannibal Legume Roll over RMC's Goliath Stall? That's tough. I haven't been on the Legume Roll, but if it's better than the Goliath Stall, then it's one of the best inversions in the world. Because that is one of the best inversions in the world. Only mild airtime. I don't know. I was in the front on Invader and got really good airtime. I think I got a middle ride for the night also, like a middle row, and it was also great. Worst coaster I've ridden, Ed Norla Tag at La Ronde. I like La Ronde. I don't like that ride. Other bad rides would include Screaming Eagle at St. Louis, Six Flags St. Louis, Outlaw at Adventureland for sure. Little Devil Coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure is the worst kiddie coaster and way up there. Southern Express at OWA. I have not been on that. I have not been to that park. But yeah, I actually don't really know what that ride is. I can't picture off the top of my head. Most bucket list coaster? Mine goes to Zadra right away because my top two coasters are similar rides, but it also seems to have very distinct elements from Death Roll or Outer Bank. It's not the same ride, but it's also same caliber. So I think that's it. Best theme park for ride ops? Overall, I think I would have to say Dollywood was the most consistent for me. There are a lot of parks where the teams did great jobs. I'm always blown away by Dominator, Orion, Goliath, and LaRonde. List goes on. But Dollywood, I think Mystery Mine was the only sort of dud. And it wasn't even that bad. It was just notably slower than the rest, and I guess also Lightning Rod because Lightning Rod was the real outlier. Actually, they'd had one train, unfortunately, and the way they do it does have its flaws. But other rides, Big Bear Mountain, Wild Eagle, Tennessee Tornado, Thunderhead, very impressive. Lines never got that long, even on very nice August summer days. My favorite night ride is the Beast. The Beast is just on a different level for night rides. It really is that good. Six Flags Great Adventures, Amazing Ops. Yeah, that'd be my runner-up probably. Great Adventure, running 3 trains on things helps, and the dispatch times are also fantastic, and they tell funny jokes. Why did they Pantopia Timbuktu at Busch Gardens Tampa? I have to assume Timbuktu is associated with not good things from the past involving colonialism, which would also explain why the park used to have the tagline "The Dark Continent," but it doesn't anymore. I think it's very fair that that's not why they wouldn't have that name anymore. It's understandable to me. Worst theme park ops? Kings Island is awesome ops. Dang, yeah, there are a lot of options for park with the best ops, aren't there? Kings Island is definitely excellent. Cedar Point used to be. I've had weaker experiences in recent years, but I know a lot of that is due to rides being closed more than the operators themselves. Hey, Zero G Coasters. Worst theme park ops is Great Escape. Michigan's Adventure is a nice contender too, but Great Escape, my experience had. I waited 45 minutes in the line for flashback, and they cycled 4 trains. That's the worst I've had, I think. What ride would I wait the longest for? Has to be something I haven't been on for sure, or not in a long time. We were mentioning Dollywood ops first. Yeah. Yeah. I guess ride I wait the longest for. I guess Zadra, but I don't think I would have to. I just have to imagine that Energylandia doesn't get as crazy crowds as a few other parks, mainly in the States, the biggest ones. What's the longest I'll wait for Valraven? Oh my gosh. I mean, the longest I did wait was over, I think, 90 minutes. So I don't know how long I'd wait now. This was back in the year it opened, 2016. It was a pretty long line and we waited it out. But I mean, I've experienced it enough that I would not go over 30, probably. I would go to something else, even if it had a longer wait, if it was a ride I was more interested in riding. I guess 30 is probably where I would go. Maybe 45. Going to Energylandia this year, but only one day. Well, that's a lot of rides. That is going to be tough, but it can be pulled off. Just plan carefully and enjoy the kiddie coasters. I wonder if I should play a round of Coastal on here for you guys, because I I'm very bad at Coastal, so it'd be fun to see someone not trying to flex they're good at it, because I already know I'm not that good. Might do one of that, and then I'll do Cahoots for you guys. So let me pull it up. See what today's Coastal is. Okay. I neglected to consider I have the wrong camera for doing sharing, so let me see what I can do. Hopefully I can change it partway through the stream without any issue. Okay. Yeah, if I switch between the two, I think it'll only show the screen itself, but let's see if we can do that. Yeah, I forgot to set up the OBS virtual. My guy, am I in a school? Maybe. Might be, yeah. Where's the settings? There it is. What ride would I not be surprised to see a 3-hour wait for? Any Disney ride, probably. Which new coaster would be the sleeper hit of 2024? No one talks about the Six Flags Great Adventure Flash Vertical Velocity. That's gonna be it. Why does it look like a school? I feel like we already discussed this. I mean a library, to be precise. Don't know if I can stream, like change the camera I'm streaming with, unless anybody has advice. My home park's Busch Gardens, Tampa. Better park, Dollywood or Silver Dollar City? Dollywood. Might make a full video on that. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I may have to, if we're to do Cahoots, restart stream. So I am sorry. But I don't know if I'm going to restart now. I'm going to look to see if there's any other thing. If any of you had done live streaming before and know how to change from your webcam to like OBS virtual camera. And I'm only kind of glancing at the chat because I'm trying to fix this issue. Georgia Surfer, that's something I can't imagine getting too excited about. I guess a little because it's a sort of new ride, but I do not think. What are you saying, Charge? I don't think it's going to be anything super special. I can drag the source to the top. The issue is that I didn't start OBS and the virtual camera when I started the stream. Because right now it's just, yeah, the webcam is what is looking at me only. It's more of a YouTube setting issue, I think. I'll put in a poll to see if it's worth restarting the stream just to play Kahoot. It's up to you guys. Should I restart the stream? But in the meantime, as votes come in, you can ask more questions. All right. Quite a few say yes. All right, so gonna try to be real quick. All right, so hop back in right after, hopefully just 1 minute. See you guys in just a bit.